Hi, I'd like to talk today about the basic understanding of theme, what it is, and how you write a theme statement. There are some things I want you to walk away knowing. One, what is a theme in a story? What does that even mean? What's the word theme even talking about? Two, how do you write an academic theme statement? Three, what are examples of theme statements? And four, what does it look like to write a theme statement plus text evidence? Kind of like that full final product look. So the first thing that I want to look at is, and just talk about, is what is a theme in a story? Specifically, not just a theme in any sort of book, but we're specifically thinking about theme in the context of a novel, or it could obviously be if you were like observing the story too, like in some sort of film or TV show or podcast or whatever. But we're specifically talking about theme in a story that has an introduction, a rising action, a climactic moment, and then the denouement, the falling action and resolution. A theme is a timeless and universal statement about a life topic that the story teaches you. That is really like the Miss Freund definition of what a theme is. Timeless means that this theme, this lesson, is going to be true and will continue to be true over time. It's not just something that is pertinent or relates to 2021. It's a theme statement or a life lesson that's going to apply to you or a person no matter the time. It was true, it is true, it will continue to be true. And it also means that it's universal. It applies to most, if not all, people. There are always exceptions, obviously, to pretty much everything in life, but the theme statement is something that is true for all people and humans and animals and things of this earth. Statement means just that it is a full sentence. So there can be multiple themes in a book, as you can imagine from all the books you've ever read or all the movies you've ever watched. There are so many things that you can pick up on as far as like deeply rooted life lessons, things to take away from what the characters go through, how the conflicts resolve or don't resolve, right? There can be so many things that you pick up on because of who you are in that moment. And we usually think of a theme in a fictional story, but there can obviously be a theme in a nonfiction story too, but it's usually only if the nonfiction piece is much more like a memoir or a biography or a nonfiction, like story telling you of the events of something. So the next thing is, how do you write a theme statement? So not to rush this or anything, but let's imagine that you have read or listened to the piece. And sort of my 3 steps in order to write that theme statement is, first of all, after you read a book or even a little bit into a book, you can probably start to pick up on theme topics that you are sensing. So let's say that you are noticing a person going through a really hard time in their life. The protagonist is really struggling with their environment, with the people around them, and you feel like, let's say, that there is sort of the beginnings of the author really teaching you about hope, having it, how it saves you, right? Whatever that might be. So you might, at the beginning of a story, like in the first half of the book, say, I sense that this theme topic is developing. The author hasn't completely taught me about it, like everything there is to know about it, but I sense this book's really talking to me about survival or about loving each other or about death or something. Then over the course of reading, maybe you're up to that halfway point in the book and you start to think about or note those really big chunks, those really big parts of the storyline that are teaching you. Maybe it's like a specific chapter that you really think an author is like dwelling on it, or maybe it's just like through a specific character that you're noting all these little places where you see this character experiencing this theme topic. And you're going to start to note, meaning like write down or mentally record that text evidence, those places where you see the theme topic developing. By the end of the book or the end of the movie or whatever you're writing the theme statement about, you're going to essentially craft a usually 1-sentence theme statement that captures that timeless universal life lesson that you, the reader, the viewer, the listener, has taken away about that topic. So the next slide really just has some examples of theme statements. The thing you need to know about theme statements is you can make them short. Like, they don't have to be super long. And a lot of times you might be able to think of like really cliche ones to begin with and then kind of make it your own. So like, let's say the theme topic is appearances. A lot of times people begin theme statements with the clause, the author believes that, or a person should learn. So sometimes if you start a theme statement with those words, like the author believes that, or it will like help you get in, kind of like training wheels, it'll help you get into the theme statement. But really, and notice I've highlighted the subject and the predicate of the sentence. Things are not always as they appear. Maybe your theme topic is kindness, and your theme statement, your big life lesson about kindness you took away from your story is you should treat others as they want to be treated. Maybe your theme topic is freedom, and you picked up on personal freedoms are good and necessary. Maybe it's about growing up, and the theme statement after reading the whole book is growing up is a challenge for everyone. A theme statement has to have the subject, which is usually the topic, and then a predicate, which is the verb phrase. And notice how all of these, like I said before, start with the author believes that or a person needs to learn. That's just kind of a good opener. So I write this next slide. It's kind of wordy, but basically, if you are going to track theme throughout a story, this is the process. So like in a literature class, in my class, on your own time, if you were truly going to, over the course of a book, track the theme, it really just means you're starting at the beginning of the book, all the way maybe through the halfway point, thinking about the theme topics. Then you're starting to collect that text evidence. And then a lot of times it's just aha moments you have at the very end where you say, wow, this is like a really huge, dark reality that this author has opened up to me about this truth about, fill in the blank. Or this is kind of an obvious theme statement that I kind of knew, and this book just sort of strengthened my understanding of it. The last slide I have for you is essentially, let's imagine that you were doing like a final piece talking about the text, the theme statement that you learned from a piece. In this particular example, I use Broken English, which is a poem by Rupi Kaur that I love a lot. And if you want me to share the poem with you, I can, or like you could totally Google the poem Broken English. But if you want to pause this and read over this paragraph, what it's showing you is kind of in the beginning of it, I sort of summarize like what the poem's about, but then in bold, my theme statement is Kaur wants us to reconsider judging others. That's the theme topic, with language barriers because it disrespects that person and their journey. And then notice as I move along, and this is kind of like the professional last step of doing a theme statement analysis, is you say like where in the poem or where in the book you learn that lesson. It's really it. If you have any questions as you move along or you work with theme, always holler, email me, come see me in person. Theme is something that you will use honestly the rest of your life, informally, in schooling and outside of school. You're really just focusing on what are the ways that you're going to transform or change as a human after watching a story. If you need any clarifications, reach out, and good work. Bye.